Well, I don't even get it, but anyway.
All right. Thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate it. It's going to be a fairly quick meeting. We want to go over some real pertinent, important information that's come up at the beginning of this 2013. And after that, we're going to break off into a couple of groups. Jonathan's going to be leading a tumbling meeting, and Trisha wants to talk about girls rec. So if you're involved with one of those programs, make sure you stay for that. They will be finished by 4:45 because that's when workout starts. If you're involved with both of those, try to pick whichever one you're doing the most of and just kind of get with that person, see what you missed at the other meeting. So, to get started, 2013 has been outstanding. We have 1,288 students right now. That's counting individuals as 2 students if they take multiple classes. We actually have 979 students. It's huge, it's the biggest we've ever been, so y'all are doing an outstanding job, but with all that growth, we've had some growing pains that we need to work out and kind of tidy up some things. We have record numbers in the girls rec program as of right now, or in 2013. Tumbling's the biggest it's ever been, and cheerleading's the biggest it's ever been. But there's still a lot of room for growth. I know in tumbling and cheerleading, girls rec, we're pretty maxed out. We have to kind of figure out how we can fit in more classes, because usually we have 3 classes every hour. Pretty much Monday through Thursday, 4, 5, 6, and 7 o'clock. It's a lot of girls rec classes. That's why we're over 375 kids in that program. The events package that we started January 2012, we're up to 228 participants. That's been the most growth that we've had this last year, and also the most growing pains that we've had. That staff, we're going to have a meeting soon just talking about that program itself. But you guys have been doing an outstanding job, and I think that's why that program is growing so much and so fast. It's been a great opportunity for us to fill the gym with downtime, which before was downtime, stuff we weren't using the gym for, Friday nights, Saturday nights, and even those days when schools closed and we're doing camps now. We're utilizing our space that we pay for every hour of the week more now than we were before.
I just want to interject one thing too, and that is USA Gymnastics, the average club is 250 to 350 students. We're considered a large club if you have 500 or more students. Less than 5% of all clubs in the United States have 1,000 students. So we're in that top echelon. We're better than over 95% of all gymnastic clubs in the country, not just in Texas or Houston, but in the country. So with that, like Michael's saying, we're having some issues with staffing, with some of the program development and stuff like that we have to work through and make sure we stay on top of it and are more proactive than reactive.
Something new that we started in February is our thriving evaluation process that we're using with girls rec, tumbling, cheerleading, and boys rec. In case you're not familiar with it, if you don't work tightly with one of those programs, the parents or the customers aren't having to pay anything additional, and now they're getting an evaluation, a 30-minute evaluation with a progress report, a handwritten thing from the evaluator that kind of describes to them whether their child is ready to move up. They're fine where they are. It gives them some pointers of what they need to work on, some stuff they can do for homework. And that's a lot of what I know Trisha and Jonathan are going to be touching on, what the kids need to progress through our level system, and just kind of communicate better with y'all as to what they're looking for as evaluators in that program. But it's been doing great. We've gotten really good reviews. We've had maybe one person not happy with it, and it's more that their kid wasn't ready to move up, I think, than anything else. But the communication lines that we've opened with the evaluation process, I think is outstanding. I sit in the office, I hear a lot of conversations going out from being evaluated, and the customer seems really happy and satisfied with what they're getting out of that.
I just with girls rec, I've been tracking it, and we've had like I think 38 evaluations since we started, and I think I've only moved up, me and Courtney, our main evaluators, we've only moved up like 17 of them, which is not, you know, majority of that whole entire group. So most of the kids that we're evaluating, even though they're staying in the same level, the parents seem like really happy, because when I talk to them at the end, they're like, they have on paper basically what they need to move up to that next level. So they're more satisfied because they know what's going on. They're talking to a coach, they have more of that interaction. So it's not even that we're evaluating kids and moving them up, because we're not doing that necessarily, only if they're ready. So we're still getting that good feedback from those parents by, just being there.
Just my 2 cents on the evaluation process. It's a great idea. It's a great concept. It's really good. It's good for communication. The negative side to all of it is some of the coaches aren't doing all the stuff that they're being evaluated. And the one frustrating part for some of the parents are when the kids being asked to do something and the parents are like, well, they've never done that in class. They've never participated. They don't even know what you're talking about. That's the one frustrating part to the parent, is if you're not following the whole curriculum and doing all your stuff as an instructor, then you got this kid that's out there that makes you look a little bit bad. That's the only negative I've seen so far.
And that's what I'm touching on.
Yeah.
Big ones with break-offs.
So with all this good news, we've definitely had record revenues. We've had the best couple months in the history of Juergen's Gymnastics revenue-wise, and this month really is projected to be the best one that we've ever had. So we're doing really good. Y'all are doing an outstanding job. More things coming up for 2013, things that we'd like to accomplish, is to implement a successful performance system. By performance, I mean like a recital, some type of display of skills that the kids can do. We're going to be talking about it a little bit more, an event that we're going to have, that we're going to host coming up in April, the end of April. The boys program did something in December, kind of a rec evaluation that was similar to that, but we just need to implement something that's more consistent and just has more participation. We had 19 boys, which was fine for a start in December, but when we're talking about 979 students, we want to get the majority of them involved in some type of performance. We really need to revolutionize what we and our customers expect the first 15 minutes of class. And I know y'all have heard a lot about how we're trying to improve that, change that. We try to implement a couple of different things to try to change that. We're going to have a whole slide on warm-ups a little bit later, but we just need to change that 25% of our product that those rec kids are getting when they come in here. Another thing we'd like to see is extend our outreach further into the community. We've had some opportunities recently Cheryl's brought to us involving the Girl Scouts and some anti-bullying. We just need more ideas, more people coming to us, and us thinking of what we can do to help out the community or reach out a little bit more, kind of get our name out there a little bit more than we are right now. It'd be good to find programs to add to Juergen's Gymnastics that would open doors to more individuals. By this we mean special needs kids, maybe even a program for seniors during the day when the gym's empty. Maybe we can have a seniors program. Anything that's non-gymnastics, cheerleading, tumbling, that we can bring into this facility is going to open doors to more kids, more opportunity for just physical education. We've also looked at a PE program that's not involved with gymnastics. We obviously have a lot of equipment here that we can utilize for that program, but if we can advertise something that's not gymnastics, tumbling, it might not turn off some people who don't want to do that. They know they don't want to do that. So something along those lines. And the last thing is transform our staff educational system. We usually have meetings in August, a lot of our meetings in August. That's the bulk of our staff development. We need to, as management, we need to extend the education throughout the year. We had people like Jared's joined us recently in January, and he didn't have the opportunity to be here in August. So we kind of put him out there, a little bit handicapped because we haven't taught him as much as some of the other people that were here in August. So we need to do a better job of that and kind of change the way we're teaching you guys. Want to try this video, maybe we can get some type of YouTube channel for you guys, and we can have several videos coming out every month that you can just check in at home or whenever you have some free time. Just ideas like that we're looking into. Next, procedures. A couple things I don't have on this slide that I talked to Dieter about earlier. No drinks or food past the railing. We used to have water past the railing, now that's not even going to work. We're just having too many problems with equipment getting damaged, so please don't take anything past the railing.
If your kids are chewing on gum, please tell them to go spit it out before it ends up on the floor. We have gum on our floor already.
Coach's office needs to be a no chalk zone, mainly because we have a new computer in there that we're using for the time clock. So coaches that work up until their workout, when you start working out and you're getting chalk everywhere, that stuff needs to be out here. You might want to still keep your books or your purse or whatever you keep in there. In the coach's office, that's fine, but chalk stuff needs to stay out here, especially putting them on and taking them off. Medication should not be administered to minors. This came up recently. I just want to reiterate, some of y'all might not have been aware or forgot. If somebody's under the age of 18, we're not allowed to give them any medicine whatsoever. So, don't do it under any circumstance. Except, some of these kids are in here every day of the week, some teen kids, and they might be going through an injury or something. If they need something, you need to contact their parents, not them. You would need to hear their voice on the phone and hear them say that it's okay to give them something. That's the only exception. But for a rec kid, if somebody's here just for an hour, they can either need to wait it out to the end of that hour, or they can call their parent and they can go home early if it's that bad. That's all. Accident report forms. Remember, if you're administering medicine, ice, anybody rolls an ankle or anything like that, you need to be filling out an accident report form, and you can turn it into me. Just throw it in my office. There's a little slot by the door, and I keep all those. Try to follow up with the parent the next day or that night to make sure everything's okay with the child.
And that goes for any time that you have a question. Kid busts their cheek on their knee or whatever, they go, okay, I'm fine, all right. Fill out an accident report form. Because they might go home and then later come back and say that they knocked out a tooth loose, we didn't know about it, and all that kind of stuff. So we want to make sure, for our insurance purposes, that we have everything documented and covered, and fill it out as completely as possible with witnesses and all that kind of good stuff. So please, 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 please make sure those are getting processed.
Ouch, my neck! If anybody hurts their neck, a kid says they hurt their neck, make sure you don't move them until either you're completely sure that it was not a serious neck injury, or someone of the senior staff here, like Juergen or Trisha or Justin, somebody who's been here a while and is real familiar with neck injuries, says it's okay. Inappropriate language, and I don't mean curse words because y'all have done a great job with that. I mean other things that we probably don't want 4-year-olds to say they heard at Juergen's Gymnastics for the first time. I have a 4-year-old now, so it's kind of important to me. Stuff like crap, darn it, screw it, screwed it up, shut up.
Shut up.
Yeah. There's a lot of words that that a lot of families use at home, and they're perfectly fine. They're not curse words. But like for instance, my family doesn't use those words at home, and I don't want this to be the place where they learn that word. They're going to learn it. I know that. They're going to hear worse than that. But this isn't the environment that we want them to be learning those things. We want to hear, more positive things here. Silly things. If you want to say something that's kind of negative, use a silly word, not one of those. No cell phones in the gym. Does everybody know the gym phone number? 281-913-1951. If it's really going to be an emergency that your parents need to get a hold of you, they need to call the gym phone. And then if it's an emergency, Kelly can get on the PA and she can get a hold of you really fast to come to the front desk. There's no reason why you need to have a cell phone in the gym, except if you're going to videotape something, and that needs to be approved by a manager.
For educational purposes only, basically.
Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to need that for a rec program. Sorry.
I was just saying, if they're doing a new skill, they want to video it, you're going to use it so that they know what to look at. But most of the time, you don't need that in rec.
Or if they want to have, if they have their own phone or their parents have their phone and they want to videotape something, that's okay. But not just to videotape a wipeout, and not just show somebody who texted somebody today and all that kind of stuff. Because you don't want none of that.
We understand that communication on cell phones is at a new level, a different level than it was 10 years ago. So if you're working a 4-hour shift or a 5.5-hour shift, we understand that you might be needing to check your phone at some point. Make sure it's at an appropriate time, which would be in between classes. And if it's not an emergency or something that needs an immediate response, don't take the time to respond to your friend who just told you something that's going on this weekend. that's for afterward. Because you're still getting paid while you look at your phone, and it should take about 10 seconds, 20 seconds to do it unless something big came up. So Juergen doesn't want to pay you. You shouldn't get paid to be there for 3-4 minutes, you know, talking to your friends, texting about what's going on later. Please lay all mats flat. Just a reminder. Very expensive mats, make sure you take care of them. Uniforms. Appropriate uniform is the shirt that Courtney's wearing. She's the only one that has it. Oh no, you're not wearing it, sorry. You know what this shirt is, the staff shirt. Or this hoodie. Those are the only appropriate uniforms to wear. No other types of jackets, zip-ups, none of that. I know it gets cold out here. If you don't have a hoodie, or if you wore your hoodie the first 3 days of the week and you don't want to wear it anymore, you need to wear something underneath your work shirt. Under Armour is the new sponsor for USA Gymnastics, so buy some Under Armour and support that cause. And that's it. If you're going to wear for the bottom half of your body, make sure that it's the colors of the gym, which would be blue, white. You can also do gray as a variation of white, or black.
And the primary color needs to be black.
Yes, the primary color has to be black. Shoes is the only exception. You don't have to match your shoes with everything else that you're wearing.
That goes for stripes on pants, outlines, everything.
So no red stripes, that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
And that was
Yes, Morgan.
Are these shorts like good or gray? They're like
Not black.
mostly gray, primary color, not black.
That's like a dark gray, so that's kind of like a in between.
yeah.
The biggest thing is we're trying to provide us a professional image. We do have one of the larger clubs in the country, and I want parents to be able to walk in and see who the staff is. If everybody's wearing different stuff, if you go in some other different gyms, some of them have like just t-shirts that they wear, some of them don't even match, some of them don't even care what you wear, and you can't tell the staff from the students kind of thing. And we have a professional image that we're trying to portray, and we want everybody to be able to tell. And that includes whether you're doing a private lesson, whether you're doing birthday parties, clinics, open gyms, whatever the case may be. There's only one exception, and that is on Fridays during team workouts only, because those team coaches are usually here 5 days a week, sometimes 6 or 7. We allow them to wear some kind of gymnastic or athletic apparel on Friday. They don't have to match the gym color. But if they coach a clinic that night, they need to be in the regular colors starting at 7.
Yeah, that's a big reminder. Private lessons, you should be, actually, anytime you're out past the railing, unless you're working out, you need to have staff attire on. If you're talking to people before you work, if you are doing a private lesson, anything like that.
If you're hanging out and you're interacting with any kids out there, even if you're not coaching that class, you should have a shirt on. Because otherwise you just look like some random person in the gym, distracting actually that class and that teacher.
All right. Make sure you reach out to kids who have not been in attendance. That means call them. There's phone numbers on your roll sheets. Remind students of your name. A lot of times students don't know who their coach is 6 months into their class. And I think you guys spend a lot of time, or focus a lot on learning their names, and you forget maybe to remind them of your name. They only see you once a week also, so every class, make sure you say, Jared's class, come over here, something like that. Just a reminder so they all know, or you can quiz them. Substitutes for my work. That's me. Make sure you find your own subs. We're gonna update this list, and then we're gonna print something out that's a little bit easier to read for you to have your own list of contacts. The only time that we're really gonna help you find a sub is if you've called everybody and everybody told you no, and then we'll work on getting somebody here to cover for you. Or a last minute situation if you're in a car accident, of course, something like that. The 10% system. We talked about it in August. There's been some questions about it, and I just now finalized the logarithm for how we're calculating it, and I have this big spreadsheet on however many hours you work. I'm going to sum it up real quick. It's going to give you the amount of hours that you could actually miss work. And I have everybody's hours on a spreadsheet, and I would like for y'all to get with me in the next couple of weeks so we can review where you're at. How much you've earned, how much you've taken off, whether it's excessive or whether it's great. And then there was also a payoff system. If you earned a lot of hours and you weren't using them because you're always here, then you're going to get some type of reward, monetary reward for that. But I like to speak about that individually, and we're running a little late. So. Anything else you want to say about subbing? Juergen?
They just have to be appropriate. You can't get somebody that doesn't coach that level come in and sub for you for that level. It should be a scenario. You shouldn't have somebody that's never done a preschool class subbing your preschool class, or never done a cheerleading class subbing your cheer class. It just doesn't work.
Should I sit while I coach? The answer is usually no. Does anybody have a reason why you would want to sit while you're coaching? Marla?
When you're getting kids out of the pit in the preschool room, you kind of have to sit down
Okay.
there.
Don't want to strain the back. That could be possible. Anyone else? Anyone else?
I feel guilty every time I sit there, but I think I know this is appropriate for my job. So you have to
All right, stretching is an okay time if you're doing a straddle sit, you're sitting. There's really not any other time that you should be sitting. Some people might argue that if you're holding the rope, you'd want to sit down, or if you're spotting, sometimes you can sit down. I would say that it looks more, you look more active if you're on your knees doing that instead of sitting. Sitting is just relaxing, in my opinion. Let's try not to sit. Tips, if you get a tip for a private lesson, a birthday party, and they try to give it to you cash. This came up recently and we never addressed it, we never talked about it, but I finally got the word how we're going to do it. If somebody tries to approach you and give you a cash tip, tell them it has to go to the front desk.
You'll get that.
You'll get
that full amount, but it just needs to be a line item on your paycheck.
We want to keep hands out of y'all's, money out of y'all's hands, just so it's not an issue. You know, somebody says you got more than, it's just easier if it's handled to the front desk. It's safer that way for everybody involved. Getting paid 4 hours for one is a privilege. I'm referring to private lessons, of course. This is about 4 times some people's regular pay, most people's regular pay. Make sure it's being scheduled through the front desk and paid through the front desk before you start your private lesson. If it's not being done, then you can lose your privileges of doing private lessons. Also, if you happen to never be available to sub or work events, but you are always here for private lessons, then you might also lose your ability to do private lessons. Subbing and working events is kind of part of the big picture of what we're doing here. Private lessons are pretty low on the totem pole. It doesn't really help out our program a whole lot. It'd be better if they were just in another class for us. But obviously some of our customers want that, and you guys, spend a lot of time with those people, so you should get paid a lot for that. However, you will lose that privilege if you're not doing the other things as well. Last but not least,
I have one more to touch on that. Also, if you hear it from a parent, if you hear it for a kid, you yourself, if you have a private lesson, you're working around everyone else in the gym. You're not, if they're on an event, you're not kicking someone else off of that event. It goes for the same on the floor. If there's 3 classes scheduled on the floor and you guys want to tumble on in a private and there's not room for you, we've had complaints of, oh, well, I was having a private, I didn't have that room. Privates are scheduled around everything else. They're the lowest on the totem pole, so you work around everyone else in the gym.
And the parents and kids have to understand that as well.
Yeah.
That they got to work around whatever's happening.
Okay. And last but not least, what were you thinking about your social media? That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever else anyone else does. You are representing the gym at all times. So everything that you put on there is your language, your pictures. Even if you do not post pictures of yourself doing any inappropriate activities, people can tag you in them, and then they end up on your page, and then they go viral, and they go doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, and then someone's going to have a Juergen shirt on, and then someone's going to say, oh, that's my coach, da-da-da-da-da, and it just goes on and on and on. Okay, so you guys are representing the gym. You just got to remember that at all times, that if it gets into anyone, we want our name to be out there and a reputation Yes, manner. So just be aware of what you're putting on the internet. Be aware, and that goes to we got a lot of talking in NCAA rules. We had teams that kids got kicked off of NCAA teams because of their social media and what they put on Facebook and what I mean. So it's not just here. Job application.
High school students right now and everything as well. If there's something on your social media, you can get kicked off your varsity athletics or your extracurricular activities and stuff for your social media through Global ISD. So and job interviews, they're going to do. Employers now are doing more checking out your Facebook than coming and having you come in face to face and talk to you about interviewing for a job nowadays. So please make sure that you're appropriate outside of here. And yes, you do have a life outside the gym. You're allowed to have a life outside the gym, but we don't want anything that's going to come back to make us look bad or the business look bad. We've worked long and hard, or I've worked long and hard, and most of y'all have too, that those of y'all have been around for a while, to build up a good reputation here, to build up a good facility here, and we don't want anything bad. So I would suggest you check your stuff in case you haven't in a while, if you've got that stuff out there, because you can easily delete it off your stuff. So anything that's out there, you can delete. Pictures or language or whatever, those little tags, you can delete it very fast. So I'd suggest you do it. Sorry, no problem.
Okay, next we're moving on to warm-ups. We're gonna try something else. We already tried everyone's, well, we're still gonna implement that too. One person's stretching, we face all the stretches out this way, so I think that's working real well. They can stretch out. One person's leading, one person's taking roll. The reason that we're doing is that to have more interaction towards the kids, towards the parents, towards the coaches. Everyone needs to be interacting. The kids benefit because they know more coaches, they're knowing your name. Introduce yourself, ask their name. You're setting that tone in the first 15 minutes. It's 1/4. They go to 3 events and warm-ups every single time. Our warm-ups are becoming like, everyone's like, oh man, I got warm-ups. Oh man. The kids, that sets the tone for the kids when they come in here in that first 15 minutes. If they see you and you're just like, oh man, here we go again, that's what they think. And then it doesn't matter what you do the rest of the class. But if you guys come in and you're all excited and you're like, okay, we're gonna do this today, woohoo, you know, and pumped up about warm-ups, that's gonna set the tone for the rest of the class. It doesn't even matter almost what you do the rest of the 45 minutes. They're already excited to be here and pumped up. So we're trying to make the warm-ups be a little bit more exciting. There's also going less to static stretching. There's lots of research lately that says that it's not as beneficial. So we're going to try to implement, I'm going to come up with like 2 skills that are going to come from like warm-ups, that we're going to try to implement more skills into warm-ups than just like stretching for 15 minutes. So this next week, we're going to do 10 frog jumps. This is teaching kids. A lot of times it's like, you need to teach them, okay, this is how you do a frog jump. I have evaluated a lot of kids. I ask them if they know what a candlestick is. No one knows what a candlestick is. Okay, so take 5 minutes out of that 15 minutes and teach these kids how to do a proper candlestick. Okay, so I mean, they're learning skills that are going to help them in the long run, and do candlestick jumps and take 5 minutes out of that warm-up period to warm up their legs and their arms and to learn a proper technique. So we're going to go candlesticks, we're going to do tripods, we're going to do handstands, headstands, bridge kickovers, all of those. We're going to put more skills into the warm-ups. So if you're leading warm-ups, we expect you to put those 2 skills into it every single time you lead. And it's going to change every single week. The same thing goes kind of, which I'm going to touch a little bit, on girls rec. We're going to have a technique of the week. And we're going to have it on every single event. It's going to start out kind of low, and it's going to go, even if you have a 3 intro class, I want them still doing what is on that sheet of paper. And it's kind of like the skill of the week. We're kind of trying to get a little bit away from it. I have ideas that you can do to make it more fun, to interact with the kids, but I want every class doing that on every single event that they're scheduled on, to try to implement those things. Those are the things that we're going to end up looking for more when we're testing them, so therefore we're hopefully evolving the kids a little bit faster and giving them that much more time working on those particular skills and stretching.
Speaking of warm-ups, 2 things I'm going to touch base on real fast. One of the person's jobs is check roll. That's your job to go around and check roll. It's not your job to say, here, all your kids here? Okay. Here, all your kids here? Okay. And then you don't interact with any kid whatsoever. You need to be finding out and learning the kids' names and actually physically checking roll. The other thing is, too, talking about making warm-ups more exciting. Perfect example is my son. If any of y'all know him, he will not participate in warm-ups. He says they're just too boring, and if he has to do them, he'd rather just go home. Okay? So that's a thing that's been created, and he won't do warm-ups. He'll do open gym, he'll do camps, he'll do his class, but he will not participate in warm-ups. He'll hang out in my office, or he'll fight me and want to go home because he's already got it preconceived that that's boring, he doesn't want to do it, it's not exciting to him, and he's your average 7-year-old boy. So if that's what we're getting, that interpretation from those kids are going home and getting bored or not wanting to come in, part of it might be the warm-ups. So we need to make those a little bit more exciting, a little bit more informative.
All right, we're running behind, so we're going to skip time clock slide. We're going to go over that next time. Upcoming events, Easter weekend schedule. Just so y'all know, we have camp on Thursday, the 28th. Friday, Good Friday, the 29th, we still will have regular team workouts, but I believe there's no event that night because it's Easter weekend. Saturday, there's no classes, so if you teach Saturday classes, make sure you remind your students this Saturday that there will not be any Easter weekend. Spotting clinic is going to be April 5th from 4 to 4:45. We'll give you some more notice about that. We're going to have
Round off by Can Springs.
Round off by Can Springs.
Yes.
Boys Rec event is going to be April 20th. More details to come. Girls tumbling and cheer event. That's going to be like a mini Olympics, and I would have liked to talk about that more, but we're kind of up against it. So I'm going to print something up, and you're going to have a handout about what it is, so you can talk to your kids about it next week. April 26th is going to be our next meeting like this. You want to kind of keep it short. It'll be at 4 o'clock again, so it cannot go too long. Slumber party is going to be probably early May. We haven't set the time yet, the date yet, but that's going to be coming out soon as well. Other business, pictures and bios. If your bio is not on the website, then make sure you email it to Tricia. And we're going to be taking pictures soon to put on there with your bios. Next week, Tuesday through Thursday, we're going to have a ton of people missing because there's high school regionals. Juergen's going to be gone. A lot of our coaches are athletes in this event. So make sure you're stepping up if you're available to help out as much as possible. We're also going to be merging classes together if we have to, worst case scenario.
If you can work on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, and you have not told anyone that you can, please see me at the end. Because we need anyone else that has not signed the sub sheet. Even anyone at work. I need to know, please.
And another thing we need help with is the clinic tonight. If you can work the clinic tonight, and you're not scheduled to work it, please let me know before you leave. One more thing I'd like to read to you. A quote that I found that I thought was pretty good. A customer is the most important visitor on our premises. He is not dependent on us. We are dependent on him. He is not an interruption in our work. He is the purpose of it. He is not an outsider in our business. He is part of it. We are not doing him a favor by serving him. He is doing us a favor by giving us an opportunity to do so. Prizes. Sorry, we're moving fast. Our first prizes, right here, right here. If you sub for anybody this year, I think, then your name was in here. If you sub 10 times, your name's in here 10 times. If you were here on time, your name is in here. So, our first winner is Cheryl. You get your prize. Next, Andrea. Congratulations. Next, Juergen's t-shirt.
Oh man, I want that.
Claudine, not here. Must be present to win. Ronette. Next. Compliments of Juergen's Gymnastics. 1 free work shirt. Just to help you out. Sydney.
Which one? Is it the IE or the
one that's here.
Y?
Oh, it's a Y. I spelled the other one. I put G's on there.
Okay. That's yours.
I need it. I'm ready.
Next, $15 gift certificate to Subway. Lindsay G. $50 to Cold Stone.
Okay.
Rachel. $15 to Starbucks. Lauren Fox. It's interesting how a lot of people that sub are here before Team players here. Panera, $25.
Going nuts.
Here. Ashley White. And our last one, $25 to show.
You don't want it, I'll take it. I don't look happy about it.
Lauren Fox, good job. One of our biggest subbers this last few months. So, we are finished with this part of the meeting. What do you want to do about that?
I think the girls' record and tumbling can still be done by 5 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just be over on 4-2. If you're not involved in either one of those programs, you're free to go. Thank you.